The following is a live presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and or future. Does it feel like Labor Day to you? It's actually Labor Day weekend here. Today is Thursday, August 29, 2024. Labor Day is Monday. You and I are about to spend the next 2 hours together as we play Labor Day baseball in our 1988 replay. We start as the pennant races come fully into view in the National League West, a battle between the Cincinnati Reds and the Houston Astros. Norm Charlton, the nasty boy, gets a start for the Reds, and Bob Forsch comes home to Houston to make his first start with the Astros. Advantage Reds. And in the nightcap, it'll be the Toronto Blue Jays hosting the Detroit Tigers as the first and third place teams in the American League East start a midweek series in Toronto. And I believe it's Mike Flanagan pitching for the Blue Jays and a good pitcher, and I forget, going for Detroit. Detroit and the Red Sox are tied for first. The Blue Jays are nipping at everyone's heels. So that's the doubleheader for you as we do our third stream of the week. 2 hours, or maybe more, of championship quality baseball for you next, right here on Retro Sports Network. As Retro Sports Network proudly presents a Labor Day doubleheader tonight, or today, starting at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. It's the Houston Astros and the Cincinnati Reds, and this doubleheader is brought to you by DigitalDice.com, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation replay needs. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. How you doing, Oriole Patrick? Nice to have you along. Bob Forsch gets the call for the Astros, who are 66-70. This is game 137 for them, and he is available today to make 6 starts for the Astros down the stretch. He is 38 years old. He's over from St. Louis. He throws a fastball that Bugs Bunny would be proud of at 82 miles an hour. With this being his first appearance with Houston, he went 1-4 in real life with a 6.51 ERA. In those 6 starts, he went 27 2/3, allowed 42 hits, 22 runs, 20 earned, 2 homers. He walked 6 and struck out 14. So, as Pete Rose is going to say in the Reds dugout, jackpot. This will be the lineup the first place Reds throw out there. Louis Quinones will lead off at short. Herm Winningham in left over from the Expos will bat second and play left. Chris Sabo at third will go third. Eric Davis in center cleans up. Paul O'Neill in right will bat fifth. Nick Isaski at first will bat sixth. Jeff Reed behind the plate, over from Montreal, will bat seventh. Ron Oster, the toaster, at second will go eighth. And Norm Charlton will bat ninth. Forsch, 85 pitches. Certainly a bullpen game for Houston. And if all goes well, he might be able to get you 5. Yikes. Defensively for Houston, Billy Hatcher a 4 and a 4 in left. Glenn Young is a 7 and a 7 in center. Kevin Bass is a 4 and a 6 at right. Buddy Bell, really? He just follows us along everywhere. How you doing, Forever Maine 90? Play ball indeed. Buddy Bell's a 6 at third, and if you remember him playing with Houston, Steeler fan might remember him. Ramirez, I think it's Raphael, is a 7 at short. Billy Doran is 6 at second. Glenn Davis is at first. Alex Trevino behind the plate. He's a 6 and a 4. And Bob Forsch with the Astros is a 4 on the mound with a 1,000 fielding percentage. And remember, everyone gets a different rating no matter if they played on 2 different teams. It's considered to be an individual card. Louis Quinones at 158. 3 for 19 with 2 RBI. And this one starts with a strikeout. So Forsch kind of tips his cap on an 0-2 curveball. Forsch, whatever success he's going to have in these 6 starts for Houston is going to be because of how crafty he is, not necessarily because he can overpower people. He can't. Herm Winningham in left hits .349 since coming over from Montreal, a triple and 11 RBI. Force deals. Winningham rips this one into right. Bass will pick it up with a single. And is he going to go for two? He might go for two. A late throw from Bass, the throw from Ramirez, and Herm is in with his first double as a Red. He only had a double and 3 triples in 53 games. So Winningham with speed to burn is on second. Davis, by the way, is a 6 at first. Here's Chris Sabo hitting .258. Only has 38 more at-bats. This is game 137 for Cincinnati, so they only have 25 games left, including this. But advantage Reds as we come down the stretch. He's hitting .258 as Sabo, 6 homers and 58 RBI. Sabo strikes out. Force got him to change on a 72-mile-an-hour 2-2 changeup. And old Bob is just kind of smiling out there. Here's Eric Davis. Davis having an MVP year for the Reds, hitting .296. And again, he only has 22 more at-bats. 28 homers and 99 RBI. I kind of wonder if Rose just went to his bench. The Dodgers won the division by more than 5 games. But you would have thought that they would have played hard as long as they could. I noticed from your games that pitchers back then in the 80 range, pitchers get washed up on, at least are injury prone today because they throw in the 90s and some touch low 100. Well, it's a different game today. I mean, bullpens are built to get you 9 outs. It's the case here then too to some degree, but you know, a good starter, Bob Forrest at one point being a good starter, I mean, you were supposed to go 7, maybe 8, and so you didn't need to throw as hard. 3 times through the lineup, then 2 today. Do I think there's a correlation? Yes, because you're not meant to throw it 100 miles an hour on a consistent basis. Nolan Ryan was one of the rare ones that could do it for a long period of time. An overhand pitching motion isn't natural. Underhand is a natural pitching motion, not overhand. But again today, you know, it's 18 batters and you're done. Pitch to Davis. Winningham goes. Line drive to Buddy Bell, and that'll do it. So that'll take care of business for the Reds. They get a hit, leave a runner on, half an inning in the books, no score. So here is the nastiest of the nasty boys, making his 5th start of the year. So I guess the sheriff, who was called up on August 19th, wasn't in the pen then. On the replay so far, 0-1 with a 2.96 ERA. Didn't throw all that hard either at 89. Fastball, fly ball pitcher. 25 years old. His last start was 6 days ago against the Pirates in a 4-2 win. He did not get a decision. He did go 8. 109 pitches, 7 hits, 2 runs, all earned. A home run, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. 24 1/3 for Norm, 19 hits, 8 runs, all earned. He's allowed 4 home runs. He hasn't quite harnessed what will be his advantage in 1990 yet. He has walked 10 and struck out 10. And here's how the Astros will line up. Gerald Young in center will lead off. He has stolen 59 bases, by the way. Billy Doran at second will bat second. Kevin Bass will catch a couple balls, hitting third and right field. Glenn Davis, a 30 home run hitter in this park, is amazing. He cleans up at first. It is indeed the ageless Buddy Bell, who played 74 games for the Astros, at third base. He'll bat 5th. Billy Hatcher in left will go 6th. It is Rafael Ramirez. Skip Carey says hi. He'll bat 7th at short. Alex Trevino behind the plate will bat 8th. And Bob Forsch will try to bat 9th. Charlton can give you 115, and that might get you 8th. Defensively for the Reds, Winningham is a 6-1 in left. Eric Davis is a 10-2 in center. Paul O'Neill a 5-7 in right. Chris Sabo was a 7 at third. Quinones a 6 at short. Oster a 6 at second. Nasaski a 4 at first. Reed a 7 and a 4 behind the plate. And Charlton is a 6 on the mound with a 1,000 fielding percentage. They were playing in. Now they backed up for the bunt. Young at 209, a homer, and 31 RBI. Yeah, and softball pitchers pitch underhand. Again, it's the same thing. These folks know what they're doing as far as that's concerned. And again, everything kind of comes and goes in cycles. And it certainly is a heavy pitching cycle at this point. Defenses aren't bad. It'll come around again. I think that they've, made some efforts to speed things up. But if you know that you're only going to have to go 100 pitches and no more, learn to gas up. It's the difference, I suppose, between, if today's pitching is like an SUV, get you where you need to go and let the rest of your bullpen finish the line, as opposed to, let's say, a Ford Fiesta or some other economy car from the 80s where you need to get as much mileage out of it as possible. And that's just because the biggest change, and you can actually blame the Reds for this, Sparky Anderson, is that an effective bullpen wins you championships. Pitch to Young is a line drive to Asaski, 1 out. Here's Billy Doran at 241, 6 homers and 45 RBI. The one constant is change. And if they threw 85-mile-an-hour fastballs today and left them right out over Broadway, they're going to get crushed. Absolutely. Hitters are smarter. You can look in. The advantages today, and this doesn't get talked about a lot, is that you have a bad at-bat. You can go in and look at video. You can see where the pitcher's throwing. You can see where you were swinging at. And these players didn't have that advantage or not. And again, the primary objective of any sport, of any game, is to win. Pitch to Doran. There's a line drive to Asaski, second verse, same as the first, 2 out for Kevin Bass, hitting .263, 15 homers and 67 RBI, which makes what Aaron Judge is doing for the Yankees all that more incredible, because it really is a giant pitching era. Pitchers are at a disadvantage, but yet they dominate. You talk about there being a lack of singles hitters. There really isn't a lot of incentive in that. You make contact with the ball, it's going to go far when you're throwing that hard. Pitch to Bass. Ground ball to Quinones. He's got it. A long throw over to first, and that will retire the side. I think I forgot to tell you Bass's numbers. He's hitting .263 and all that. And so that'll do it. 1 inning in the books in this doubleheader. Reds and Astros are scoreless. So O'Neill, Asaski, and Reed. Paul at .268, 16 homers and 67 RBI. I think that the biggest misnomer, or the biggest tall tale in baseball, is that all stats are equal. And that's certainly not true. In eras of great offensive dominance, such as the early 30s and maybe the early 21st century and all that, it was easy to get on base. And you look at the late the first set of teens and the late 60s and early 70s before the DH, and look at where pitching dominated. It's the same sport, but it really isn't. And a home run hit in 1968 meant a lot more than a home run hit in 1930, which didn't mean nearly as much as a home run hit today. It all does come out in the wash, so it'll all balance out. Pitch to O'Neill. Fly ball to right. Bass will track this one down for the out, and there's one away for Asaski. Nick at .251, 16 homers and 57 RBI. In other sports, it's much more pronounced. Teams that, were run-heavy teams in one era, and then the West Coast offense became in vogue, and the pass came in to set up the run, and then wide and spread formations. You can see all that in football and basketball with the three-point. That's now a 40% effective shot for the most effective shooters. Not good English, Ron. So you can see those changes. In baseball, it is much more subtle. I gave you Asaski's numbers. The pitch from Forsch struck him out, and Bob has fanned 3. An 0-2 curve, 2 out. So Bob Forsch is doing this with smoke and mirrors so far. There's Jeff Reed hitting 269 and 4 RBI. Yeah, OBP is much lower. It'll come back. Everything adjusts. And at some point, the whole point of launch angles and stuff was to make sure that when you made contact with it, that the ball went somewhere. And at some point, and especially now with the bases being bigger and the stolen base coming back into play, they'll realize that a strikeout is not a good out. There's nothing productive about a strikeout. So again, it all changes in time. Pitch to Reed. There's a fly ball again to right. Bass is there, and he will make the catch, and that'll do it. Reds go in order here in the second, no score. Glenn Davis at 259, 24 homers, and 83 RBI. Right now, I think of the big four, the one that is the most in balance between good offense and good defense, although the NBA is hitting all the right notes, I think, too, is the NHL. You have the high scores. Scores aren't through the roof. There's a good defense matters. Goalie equipment is huge. And all that. The pendulum just kind of goes back and forth and changes for all that. Whether you find it enjoyable depends on what you like and what you don't like. Pitch to Davis. There's a pop-up left side. Quinones will get there and make the out, 1 away. It'll be interesting as Buddy Bell stepping in at 264, 5 homers with the Astros, and 33 RBI. Everyone lifts weights today. That's huge, and that's, the thing with the steroids. Steroids don't make you hit anything faster. It allows you to work out more and recover from your workouts. And don't underestimate what proper nutrition has done for athletics. Faster, higher, stronger. There's the infamous picture of Lenny Dawson in the locker room in Super Bowl I. He's smoking a cigarette and drinking a Fresca. Guess what you're not doing today? Bell rips this one past O'Neill in the right field, down in the corner. And Bell's going to have 2 of these. Is he going to dig for 3? Nope. O'Neill will throw it in, and Buddy has himself a double. His 10th since coming over. So here's Billy Hatcher hitting 264, 5 homers and 54 RBI. And Billy has an 8-game hitting streak. I think a lot of the problem is that we kind of expected, things to be where they were when we were growing up. And, if you want to see a sport that has completely changed in the last 40 years, pitch to Hatcher, here's a fly ball, left center. Whittingham will get there. He'll make the catch, and Buddy will go back to second. And Whittingham actually had to make a sliding catch on the turf to get there. So that's his first with the Reds. That'll bring up Rafael Ramirez. Rafi at 270. Wow, 4 homers and 41 RBI. You look at golf and the Tiger effect. Muscle mass, working out, nutrition. But the changes in the equipment and the change in all the analytical stuff and the stats that have come out of all that, and ball flight, and what you can do with irons and metal woods and all of that. You look at a golf tournament from 1985 when they were still using persimmon drivers and woods, compared to today, it's unrecognizable. You can only lengthen courses so much, too. a par 4 that is 510 yards just wouldn't have happened 40 years ago. Today, you look at a championship course, and you're not going to find a par 4 unless you play the real short one. That's under 470 yards. Pitch to Ramirez. Fly ball to left. Whittingham should get this one a little easier than the last, and that'll do it. No runs, a hit, no errors. We go to the third, no score. And Ron Oster digging in at 258 and 8 RBI. And the last point of this being that you're taking a driver or a 3-wood, you're hitting it 300 yards off the tee, and you're leaving yourself at 180, 190 with a mid-iron to the green, which is going to stick when you hit it. And so, yeah, the thing with all this data is you go with what makes you win. Whether you're entertained by it, again, that's an individual choice. There is no right or wrong answer. It is what it is. Pitch to Oster. Struck him out. That's 4 for Forsch. That's incredible. Here's Norm Charlton. Norm 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. He did not have a hit in his 1988 at-bats. We're doing 56 next year as far as the baseball replay is concerned, and that is a completely different style of baseball. But then again, everyone did not throw complete games. If 40 in a given year was a lot, there wasn't a lot of stealing. It was a lot of contact baseball and such, but it will be a completely different style from this. Pitch to Charlton. Struck him out. Bob Forsch ate his Wheaties this morning. He got him on a 2-2 curveball. Holy goodness. So opening 9 for Forsch, the dream start for Bob. 36 pitches, 2 2/3, a hit, and 5 strikeouts. He only struck out 14 in 28 innings. Louis Quinones struck out his first time up. There's a ground ball to Davis. Glenn takes it to the bag, and Quinones is retired. So you think you look at stats and think you got a game figured out? Not right now, I don't. After 2.5, the Reds go in order, and it's no score. So Trevino, Forsch, and Young to face Charlton here in the third. Alex at 279, 2 homers, and 18 RBI. Ground ball to Quinones. Louis makes a good throw to Aseski for the out. So Bob Forsch on the real year, coming over from St. Louis, 1 for 7 with a double. I'd imagine Ken's on the roster too. Bob pitched for years for St. Louis. And it was his brother Ken that was a mainstay here in Houston for almost a generation. Bob drove in 3 runs. Won't get in here. In the left, Whittingham makes the catch for the out, 2 away. For Gerald Young, who's 0 for 1. Charlton, 38 pitches, 2 2/3, and a hit. And for, fans, especially people who watch this channel, or Dave Gardner's channel, it comes down to we played a certain way or we watched a certain way when we were 14, 15, 16 years old. Whenever you made the determination of how you like something, and that just kind of went into, I like X, and I'm used to seeing X. That doesn't mean that Y or Z are wrong, but you want to see X. It's what you grew up with. Pitch to Young. Gerald swings, popped up. Oster by the bag at second. And he'll make the catch. And now he'll retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. I've babbled on for 24 minutes since we played 3 scoreless innings. Astros and Reds scoreless in Houston. So it'll be Whittingham, Sabo, and Davis to face Forsch here in the fourth. And Whittingham drops one down. He had a single and is going to reach on another single as Buddy Bell got a late jump on it on the plastic and threw to first, and He beat it out, so that's only the second hit for the Reds. So here's Sabo. Sabo 0 for 1 with a K. Force throws to first, and Winningham is back. And Sabo squared the bunt. So Davis and Bell come into play for it. There goes Winningham. Dribble down to Buddy Bell, and it rolled foul. So the count is 0-1. Infield remains at corner depth. Yeah, you're happy to see the Orioles winning again. I got to look to see what the overall first place standings are. We will do the traditional World Series sometime this fall between the best record in the American League and National League. Had a lot of fun with that last year. The Braves beat the Orioles in 5. Pitch to Sabo. Throw down to Doran, and Winningham is in there with a 6th steal. So an 0-2 count. There's still nobody out. And now the infield will go back to play normal. Yeah, that's a lot of baseball to play. Baseball is a marathon, not a sprint. Pitch to Sabo. Line drive to Ramirez, and that will take care of Chris. 1 out for Eric Davis, who's 0 for 1. Ground ball to first. Davis underhands it to Force. Winningham moves to third. Davis is retired. 2 out. Paul O'Neill is 0 for 1. Winningham goes down the line. That's a base hit, and the Reds go up 1-0. So Mr. Howard out there in Washington is poking his Pete Rose voodoo doll because he needs the Astros to win. Reds, of course, in first place, control their own destiny with less than a month to go. Here's Sasaski, who struck out his first time up. Yep, pitchers are worn out. And again, you got to build that endurance. So, you know, the reason why is you only threw 5 or 6 innings in the minors. That's all you were trained to throw. Pitch to, Trevino and Forsh have a word. Bob's pitch to Nick. That's a base hit in the left center. You knew that Forsh wasn't going to be Sandy Koufax forever out there. So first and second, 2 out for Jeff Reed, who's 0 for 1. Runners go, and Reed draws the walk. Force slams the ball back in his glove. A full count fastball, Miss Lowe. So they're loaded for Ron Oster, who struck out his first time up. 2 out, top the 4th, 1-0 Reds. Oster in the right for a single. O'Neill's going to score. Asaski's going to score. Reed has my speed. They'll park his carcass at second base, and the Reds go up 3-0. Do you think your White Sox will get the record for most losses? You would think that in the last month... What is their record as of today? Charlton struck out his first time up. Forsh, again, 5 on a good day, and that's what he's looking at here. First and second, 2 out. Charlton hits it down to third. Buddy Bell over to Davis. And Charlton, this is going to be close. Does he reach? No, out in a bang-banger. However, the Reds get 3 runs. 4 hits and no errors. We go to the bottom of the 4th here in Game 1. Reds 3, Astros nothing. $31 and 103. Here, let's go through the standings first, and I'll answer that. In the National League West, the Reds lead the Dodgers by 2.5, and San Diego by 7.5. In the East, the Mets pretty much have this wrapped up. Their magic number is 15. They lead Philadelphia by 13 games. In the American League East, you see Detroit and Toronto next on Retro Sports Network. Oh, by the way, Detroit and Boston are tied, and the Blue Jays are a game and a half back. Minnesota won a huge one if you were with us yesterday. They lead Kansas City by 3. Oh, by the way, they still have the best record in all of baseball. And the A's are 7.5 back. Billy Doran, by the way, is 0 for 1. I don't think they quit. I just don't think they're that good. They need to win. Look, they can if they go 9-17, which would be an improvement. They can beat the 62 Mets. It's all an experiment, I mean, how demoralizing. When they finally snapped their 21-game losing streak, they fired the manager. They just can't wait for the season to be over. They are, is probably as bad as the 1899 Spiders, and that's not saying much. Their record, it's the old Jim Mora line. They are who we thought we were. Your record is how you are. And yeah, remember, you're playing everybody now. You play everybody in both leagues over the course of the season. And yeah, if you're 31-103, you're not a winning team in sheep's clothing here. Pitch to Doran is a line drive to left field, and that's going to hook foul, and somebody from Katy, Texas made that catch, and it's a ball and 2 strikes to Billy Doran. And I think at some point you just become absolutely demoralized. You come to the ballpark, and yeah, you're playing for a lot of money, but you don't want to be this bad. There's no point in tanking. The 1-2 to Doran. Fly ball right center. My wife is off for something, and Davis will make the catch. 1 out. Where are you off to? Sarah? Where are you going? Okay. 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 Kevin Bass. Yep. Kevin Bass is 0 for 1. The wife is escaping. I can't believe she doesn't want to watch 2 games from 1988. How dare she? Pitch to Bass is a base hit up the middle, and Davis will grab it. So Charlton's pretty much is pitching pretty well here. I don't think that they've quit. I think pride comes into it at some point. I just think they are what the record says they are. You think Jim Mora copyrighted that? Glenn Davis is 0 for 1. And Bass, throw to first, and he's back. So we'll try and steal. Reed's throw down to center is going to be in time. So Bass had an 89% chance of stealing that, and 89 in 100. Reed to Oster, so it goes 2-4 on the card, 2 out, and a 1-strike count to Davis. 3-0 Reds here, bottom of the 4th. Pitch to Davis. Line drive to third. Sabo is there for the out. Now, depending on what direction the White Sox go into next year, who they have for free agents and all that. Quinones, by the way, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Opening 18 for force. 62 pitches, 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. They'll be better. Experience will do that. A bitter taste in everyone's mouth will do that. But consider, if you look at the 62 Mets, pitch to Quinones, there's a ground ball to Ramirez. Rafael throws to first for the out. The Mets were a collection of kids and old veterans trying to get people in the seats at the Polo Grounds. And of course they were that bad. It was also the first time the National League had expanded, had added any sort of franchise in 60-some-odd years. The formula for success with that, of course, has changed over the years. In this case, yeah, he wants a new stadium and all that. And so there might be some of, not wanting to spend the money and doing what the A's did to Oakland. Winningham, by the way, has doubled, singled, 2 for 2, stolen the base and scored. That came in the 4th. But at some point, pride will kick in, and they will do better in the future. Gus says, is Sizemore seeming to connect with the team? Who knows? That seems to be what's important. Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, it did not know that they had hired Grady when we were streaming the day that they fired Griffel, or whatever his name is. Pitch to Winningham is a ground ball to Doran. Billy throws to Davis for the out. That you put in some no-name or someone who never managed before, and Sizemore fits that bill and more to get him some experience. I'm not sure whether, if they had come out and if they win 10 games in the last month of the season, they're obviously not going to keep Sizemore as manager. What that does for his future prospects or not, he at least got the taste. I'm not sure that you can penalize him. I mean, my goodness, he's what, 41, 42? His future chances for what happens here, or, sign him to a 5-year deal. Chris Sabo was 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Sizemore is the Webster's definition of a sacrificial lamb in the dugout. Forever, 90 says, I think he does. Still, I can't get that no one is held accountable for the situation. Well, that's because ownership refuses to be accountable for anything in Chicago. Pitch to Sabo. And that's a ground ball that Trevino can't play. And it was off the mitt. The ball hit the mitt and it got away, and so that's an error on Trevino, and there's 2 out and a runner on first for Eric Davis, who's 0 for 2. Can't show you that again. So 1-1 pitch that was hit and bounced fair. And so Davis had the wherewithal to run, or Sabo had the wherewithal to run. It helps if you look at the right side of the lineup, Ron. I've been asked before, why do you leave the lineups on the screen? And the answer is so I can figure out what the heck I'm doing. Davis is 0 for 2. Sabo off at first, and Force struck him out. Halfway home, game 1 of this doubleheader. Tigers and Jays to follow here at the Dome. It's 3-0 Cincinnati. Well, if you join us late, hello there. It's the first of 2 today. The Reds lead the Astros 3-0. Cincinnati in first place in the National League West. The Astros are getting ready to watch Warren Moon and the Oilers as we play a Labor Day doubleheader. No Jerry Lewis for you. 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Reds. No runs, 2 hits, an error for Houston. In the 4th, the Reds got their 3 runs. Paul O'Neill, an RBI single to make it 1-0. And then Ron Oster, a 2-run single to make it 3-0. Norm Charlton, he came up as a starter and has pitched well. He's allowed 2 hits through 4. And Bob Forsch making his Houston debut, 5-hitter through 5, 3 runs all earned. And outside the 4th, he pitched well. It'll be Buddy Bell, Billy Hatcher, and Rafael Ramirez here in the 5th for Houston. Buddy Bell has a double. If Reinsdorf would only be selling the team, again, there's got to be an incentive there, and that's where, if Manfred had the permission of his owners, could put that pressure on. That's what that comes down to, is you need to have someone to force you to do that. I'm not sure how much more value Reinsdorf can get. I'm sure that the family paid whatever they paid for it when they bought the team from Bill Veeck. And probably 10 to 20 times their investment. There's some serious money coming back. Pitch to Bell, by the way. Base hit left field. Whittingham will pick it up. Buddy's digging for 2. And he's in there with his 11th double of the year in second today. So runner in scoring position for Billy Hatcher. who's 0 for 1. Gets away from Reed, and Bell moves on to third. So the Astros have a runner 90 feet away, nobody out. In a 1-ball count. Charlton deals. Hatcher into shallow left center. Eric Davis is running in but doesn't have a great arm. Makes the catch. Bell will tag. Davis will throw to the plate. It's going to be close, and Bell slides under the tag. So a sac fly for Hatcher, and it's a 3-1 ball game. So 1 out for Rafael Ramirez, who's 0 for 1. Rafi into left field. Whittingham's had a busy day out there. Will make the catch for the out, 2 away. This, by the way, is a night game. We normally would do the day game first and the night game second, but we wanted the better game to be the attraction, so the Tigers and Jays are next from Toronto. Alex Trevino is 0 for 1. Charlton digs in and deals. Ground ball to Sabo at third. Long throw to first for Osaski. Bad ownership, of course, is nothing new in sports. Every league has them. Paul O'Neill, by the way, 1 for 2. Bart Schott was not a great owner when she owned the Reds, but yet they won a World Series. O'Neill 1 for 2. He has an RBI and a run scored. You would think that if the Reds win the division, well, we'll see how they will do against the Mets. They are 79 and 56. This is game number 136 for the Reds and 137 for the Astros. Pitch to O'Neill. Fly ball opposite way in the left. Hatcher's there. Makes the catch. 1 out. For Nick Osaski, who's 1 for 2. He is singled, struck out, and scored. Captain Carl, how are you? And Scotty getting his Pete Rose voodoo doll in there. How you doing, Captain Carl? Osaski, slow ground ball over the mound. Ramirez waltzes in, throws to first for the out. 2 away. Astros have held their own in this one. Here's Jeff Reed, 0 for 1 with a walk. Tigers and Jays are next. In the left field, back goes Hatcher. Billy by the track makes the catch, and that'll do. So, Bob Force survived 6 innings in his Houston debut. We're going to pinch hit for him after 5.5. No runs, no hits. The Reds have left on 4, and it's 3-1 Cincinnati. So who can hit a lefty time is going to be Craig Reynolds. Craig is a pinch hitter hitting 190 with 2 RBI. Overall, 189 and 4 RBI with 3 doubles. Charlton starts the 6th. Struck him out. That's the first for Norm. Would you believe that? A 2-2 fastball got him inside, 1 out. So 18 batters for Norm Charlton, 70 pitches, 5 1/3, 3 hits and a strikeout. Young is 0 for 2. Bad ownership is the standard for Seattle sports. Drew Carey owns the Sounders, or is part of that group, right? And I thought Paul Allen's group with the Seahawks was pretty good. We won't get into the NBA there. Pitch to Young. Gerald draws a walk, and that's dangerous as he's a threat to go. So full count curveball missed inside. Here's Billy Doran, who is 0 for 2. Charlton throws to first, and Young is back. We'll send Young now. Reed throws down to Oster, and Young is thrown out. So Reed has thrown out 2 runners today trying to steal. And it's a 1-strike count. Charlton deals. Doran draws the walk. And so now 2 out and 1 on for Kevin Bass, who is 1 for 2 with a single. Yeah, I had a great time with that. And so did Dave. Dave just loved it. Gus says, other than what happened, yeah. I'm not sure about the Mariners' ownership. I remember Nintendo owning them. Pitch to Bass. There's a fly ball to right, but O'Neill is there, and Paul will track it down. And after 6, no runs, no hits. The Astros have left on 2. No errors. It's the Reds 3. The Astros 1. The game insists I put in a pitcher. So, switchy. We're going to go with bestie. And it's going to be Dave Meads. Meads will get another start at the end of the season. So at 24, he can go as long as I want him to. Throws a fastball at 89, 24 years old, ground ball pitcher. He is 2-3 with a 3.16 ERA. He last pitched on September 2nd, so 3 days ago. He went an inning against the Cardinals in a 6-2 win. 18 pitches and 2 hits. Overall, 37 innings, 29 hits. 13 runs all earned, a home run. 22 walks and 19 strikeouts. So lefty to face the 3 switch hitters. Oster, we'll see about Charlton, who's only thrown 84 pitches. And Quinones. Sounders are the exception. Before Paul Allen bought the Seahawks, Ken Behring moved to... Oh, that's right. Moved into L.A. in the middle of the night. They played their games in Seattle, but their corporate offices were in L.A. Los Angeles for the longest time being the siren song of an NFL franchise. Pitch to Oster, fly ball to right, Bass goes back, he'll hook that one out. See what they do with Charlton's 0-for-2 with the K. Stays in the game, Meads delivers, struck him out. A 1-2 fastball swung on and missed. So 2 out for Quinones, who's 0-for-3 with a K. It's Captain Carl's 20th Fantasy Football League season. And you celebrated that with a trip to Canton back in 2003. Nice. Pitch to Quinones. That's a base hit into right center field. Young will cut it off, and Quinones will reach, and Barry Larkin is going to pinch run for him. So Larkin, with 36 steals on the year, will come into play short. 6 hits for the Reds, 2 outs here in the 7th for Herm Winningham, who was 2-for-3, has singled, doubled, stolen a base, and scored. Meads throws to first, and Larkin is back. Goes to the plate. There goes Larkin to throw down to Ramirez, and Barry has number 37. So the Reds set me up for that. Good job, computer. So Larkin on second in a 1-strike count to Winningham. Liner to right at Bass. Does he make the play? Larkin goes back. Bass will have a bounce in front of him. Larkin around third. The throw goes in the infield, and Barry didn't feel like he could get home. So Winningham has had himself a day. He is now 3-for-4. 2 out for Sabo, who is 0-for-2 with a strikeout. And it's helpful if the mouse is in the right spot. First and third, Sabo slow bounder down to Ramirez. Rafi goes to second, and they'll take care of business. Stretch time in game 1, 3-1 Reds. So Davis, Bell, and Hatcher to face Charlton here in the 7th. Glenn is 0-for-2. Pitch from Norm. Ball 4. And somebody said some words. Charlton had a few choice words on a 3-1 fastball and didn't get thrown out. But now he's going to have to pretty much thread a needle if he wants a strike call. Buddy Bell is doubled twice. He's 2 for 2. He's also scored the lone run for Houston in the 5th. In the right center field, but O'Neill will wait, make the catch, and Davis is back to first. And no one is confusing him as the old Celtic player, Big Baby Davis. Billy Hatcher has an 8-game hitting streak. Charlton has held the Astros to 3 hits, by the way. Hatcher has a sac fly. That came in the 5th. He's 0 for 1. In the left center field, back goes Winningham, and Herm will make the catch. And Davis has to go back. Rafael Ramirez is 0 for 2. If you join us late, the Reds lead over the Dodgers is 2.5, and they, by the way, play on the next weekend. Think we'll be showing any of those games? Maybe. We'll see. Rafael Ramirez is 0 for 2. Charlton and Reed have a word. Norm on the mound delivers, and that's grounded foul third base side, and the count is 2-2. Someone from Galveston made that play. Up the middle, a base hit. Eric Davis will cut it off. Glenn Davis doesn't have a lot of good speed, but he's going to run on Eric Davis's arm. Eric's throw is cut off by Barry Larkin, who's a 7 out there in short. Norm Charlton's day is done. Rob Dibble, the pride of Connecticut, comes in to pitch, and we got a pitching change. 2 out, bottom of the 7th. Reds up 3-1. Dibble is 5-1 on the replay. He does not have a save. John Franco is their closer, by the way. He's pitched now in his 34th appearance. 5-1, a 3.55 ERA. 24 years old, fastball at 95, and a ground ball pitcher. So he is here to set the table for Mr. Franco. He last pitched 2 days ago. So Saturday in a 1-0 loss to the Cubs. He did not figure in the decision. So he didn't give up the run. 2 innings, 28 pitches, 2 hits and a walk. 38 innings, 37 hits allowed, 18 runs, 15 earned, a homer, 19 walks, and 33 strikeouts. Alex Trevino is 0 for 2. 2 out, runner on third is Davis. Ramirez on first, Trevino in the right. O'Neill coming in, makes the catch, and that'll do it. So Dibble strands both the runners. No runs, a hit, and no errors. After 7, it's the Reds 3, the Astros 1. Bobby says, I remember that you had suggested a replay of Jim Brown's 1,800-yard season. Oh, cool. You'll be starting that soon. In what engine are you doing that in? That might be, you got Dickerson in 84, OJ in 73, and Brown probably was the best of the 3. Yeah, meeting Biletnikoff, I think that was so accidental, and that was so cool. And Fred looked great. And Fred was an old man receiver when they won that Super Bowl after the 76 season. Eric Davis is 0 for 3 with the strikeout. He looked great. And from the times that I've talked with older players, they're grateful that people remember who they are. Pitch to Davis. Eric hits a ground ball to third. Bell has it. Throws to Glenn Davis. And Eric is retired. I think that there was another function there in the hall or in the area, and that's why Fred was there. They did not bring him in specifically for that. Although, it would be extremely cool if they did that. Paul O'Neill is 1 for 3. a single, an RBI, and a run scored. I wonder if Fred's hands have recovered from the years of stickum that they used. And Dave Collins will pinch hit. Collins is a pinch hitter, hitting .210 with 2 RBI. Overall, .228, no homers, 2 triples, and 6 RBI. So, Meads has gone an inning in the third, 1 out here in the 8th, nobody on. And there's a slow ground ball to Doran. Billy throws to Davis for the out, 2 away. For Saski, Nick is 1 for 3. He has singled, scored, and struck out. And there's a liner to left. Hatcher is there, and Billy makes the catch, and that'll do it. So the Reds go in order in the 8th. That'll also do it for Meads because he's not batting. After 7.5, no runs, no hits, no errors. Reds 3, Astros 1. So who can hit a righty? And it's going to be Terry Poole. Terry is a pinch hitter, .211 overall and 5 RBI. As a regular hitter, .283, 2 homers, and 22 RBI. Part of your APA project of 2000. Oh, cool. Eric Dickerson, Terrell Davis, Chris Johnson, and now Adrian Peterson were able to get to 2,000 by their. That's cool, by their actual number of attempts. APA football is a very, very good game. And I was surprised when we had on Jeff Giardino and Greg Barrett a while ago that it came out in 1957. It's amazing how good the lines are. So you've done most of them, Dickerson, Davis, and Johnson, and Peterson. What would you say personally, who you thought was the best of the 4? Pitch to Poole. Terry swings over the mound. Larkin gobbles it up, throws to first for the out. So 1 out for Gerald Young. Dibble's still out there on the mound. Gerald is 0 for 2 with a walk. Struck him out. First for Dibble, a 1-2 curve. Got him looking. 2 out for Billy Doran, who's 0 for 2 with a walk. Reds 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors, have left on 6. Astros a run on 4 hits, and an error, and they've left on 4. Pitch to Doran. Struck him out. Dibble does his job. So no runs, no hits, and no errors. A 2-2 fastball looking, and we go to the 9th. It's the Reds 3, the Astros 1. So they'll go lefty versus lefty, at least to start. Juan Augusto. He can't lose the game, so we'll ignore the 3-game losing streak. He's 30 years old, fastball at 84, and a ground ball plus pitcher, making his 66th appearance. He is 3-8 with a 4.48 ERA. And if you look at the difference in his ERA from that in real life, it's one of the reasons why the Astros are under 500. He last pitched yesterday in St. Louis, or against St. Louis, in a 5-4 win for Houston. 2/3 of an inning, 12 pitches, and a hit. So he went twice over the weekend. He pitched Friday and Sunday. 78 1/3 for Juan, 77 hits, 43 runs, 39 earned, 9 homers. He's walked 36. You sure this isn't 1949? And he has struck out 29. Reed, Oster, and Dibble spot here, the 9th for Pete Rose's Reds. I was obnoxious as a Raiders fan on Fred's day as I am a Dodger fan. Scotty, you're not obnoxious. They are close, the ones that we mentioned. Dickerson, Terrell Davis, Chris Johnson, and Adrian Peterson. And Chris Johnson never got the do for being a 2,000-yard runner. But Dickerson was probably better. And of course, all the ones you've done so far are in a 16-game season, right? I don't think anyone has done it in the 17-game season. Pitch to Jeff Reed, who stays in the game. He's 0 for 2. Ground ball to Doran. Bill throws to first, 1 out. Ron Oster's 1 for 3. He has singled, driven in 2, now is 10, and has struck out once. So most football talk we've had in the baseball stream in a long time. Pitch to Oster. Fly ball to left. Hatcher will let that hook foul, and somebody from Corpus Christi made that catch. It's a 0-2 count. Fly ball, left field. That was well hit, but Hatcher will track it down. It's a big old ballpark, of course, and there's 2 out. So let's see what the Reds do with Dibble. I can't imagine they'd let him hit here. And he won't. Keeping the home fires burning, Cal Daniels. Cal, as a pinch hitter, is a good one. He's hitting .400, a homer, and 2 RBI. Overall, hitting .299, 20 homers, and 70 RBI. 3-1 Reds, 2 out, top of the 9th. Augusto deals. That is up the middle. Dorrance cuts it off, throws to Davis, and the Reds are done. No runs, no hits, no errors. It is what we thought it would be. John Franco trying to nail down his 24th save. Reds 3, Astros 1. So Franco making his 52nd appearance. Surprised his nickname wasn't SpaghettiOs. 1-3 with a 1.33 ERA. Good luck. He has closed the door 23 out of 27 times. He's 28 years old. He is an extreme ground ball pitcher. And he throws that fastball at 87. He hasn't gone in a few days. Almost a week against the Pirates on August 30th in a 6-4 win. 2/3 of an inning to get the 8-pitch save and a strikeout. So overall, 54 innings, 39 hits, 9 runs. Don't forget, this is the first of 2. Tigers and Jays are next. 8 of those runs were earned. A home run. He has walked 14 and struck out 40. So Bass, Davis, and Bell, Astros need 2 to tie and 3 to win. Kevin is 1 for 3 with a single on the day. Got him. Franco, a 2-2 curve, and Bass chased it 1 out. So here's Glenn Davis. Glenn is 0 for 2 with a walk. So the Dodgers are 2 outs away from not being able to gain any ground. Right back to Franco, third base side of the rubber, over to Asaski, 2 out. So last chance saloon for the Astros, an old friend, Buddy Bell at the plate. Buddy is 2. Is there anybody that Buddy Bell didn't play for? He is 2 for 3. He has doubled twice and scored the lone run for Houston back in the 5th. Franco deals. Ground ball to third. Sable over to Asaski, and the Reds do their part on this Labor Day. They win by the score of 3-1. So 2 hours and 50 fake minutes. 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors. The Reds strand 6. A run on 4 hits and an error for Houston. And they stranded 4. We're going to give Norm... No, I don't know. Who do we give this to? Winningham. He went 3 for 4. Game got it right. Is your Digital Elites MVP here in Game 1. We're going to set up for Game 2, and you'll see that right after these messages. So on this rainy day in Detroit, not Toronto, Detroit, It's the Tigers and the Blue Jays in a big one in Corktown. It'll be Jack Morris and Mike Flanagan. So you can't do about much better than the Hall of Famer for the Tigers. And Mike Flanagan is also a pretty good pitcher. In fact, he is 14-10. And it shows you just how much of a win-loss stat doesn't matter too much, as ERA is 5.31. Morris has had an off year. He went 15-13 with an earned run average under 4 in real life. He is 13-13 on the replay with an earned run average of 4.5. That's bad. That's bad. So here's a setup for you. The Tigers are tied for first with the Red Sox. And nipping right behind them both are the Blue Jays. It's a 3-team race, and the American League East. You'll see this one today, and then you'll see the third game in this series on Monday, on Labor Day. You ready? Let's do this. So Jack Morris is warming up. One note from Bobby. Captain Carl says Bell and Nettles both started their careers in the same way as outfielders before moving to third and playing for 19 different teams. Okay, there's my drink. Jack Morris making his 29th start of the year. Again, he's 13-13 with a 4.51 ERA. He's 33 years old, fastball at 89. He'll get a couple more rings before he's done, and if the Tigers win the division this year, he's got a chance for a ring this year. He has made one start against the Jays, and he threw a 2-hitter. Walked 5 and struck out 7. His last time out was against the White Sox on August 31st. In a 4-1 loss, he went 6 2/3, 142 pitches, 7 hits, 4 runs, all earned. He walked 6, which was not a season high, and he struck out 6. The one-hitter came against the Rangers on July 31st. 213 2/3 for Jack, 219 hits, 109 runs, 107 earned, 12 homers. He's walked 89 and struck out 154. And this will be the lineup he'll face. Tony Fernandez leads off at short. Lloyd Mosby in center will bat second. Rance Melnix is the DH. He'll go third. George Bell in left will clean up. Ernie Witt behind the plate will bat fifth. Fred McGriff at first will go sixth. Jesse Barfield in right will bat seventh. Kelly Gruber at third goes eighth. Manny Lee at second will go ninth. And Morris has a rubber arm. He can go as long as Sparky or I want to keep him in the ballgame. Defensively for the Tigers, Fred Lynn is a 6 and a 7 in left. Gary Pettis is a 10 in center. Chet Lemon is 7 and 8 in right. Tom Brookins a 4 at third. Now here's one of the big things that's going to hurt the Tigers down the stretch. It's not Trammell and Whittaker out there. It's Salazar and Whalewander. Salazar a 3 at third. Whalewander not a bad defensive second baseman. He's an 8 there. His offense, he's at a 0.97. Ray Knight is a 2 at first. Mike Keith is 7 and a 5 behind the plate. And Morris is a 7 on the mound with a 981 fielding percentage. Tony Fernandez at 289, 6 homers, and 57 RBI. So, second year in a row, the Jays and the Tigers are going to battle for the American League East crown. And the Blue Jays are going to have a healthy Tony Fernandez the rest of the way. Fernandez, a ground ball to Salazar over tonight, and that's not an out. Fernandez is going to reach on the air. So Salazar makes his 6th error out there. That's not a good play. And it goes into the dugout, and Fernandez is on second. It is a rainy day here in Detroit, 78 degrees, winds blowing in from center at 8. And so Fernandez gets a gift bag. Not necessarily signed by one Derek Jeter. Lloyd Mosby at 236, 4 homers, and 44 RBI. In '87, these two teams met the last 7 days or 7 weekend games of the regular season. Toronto won the first 3. And Tony Fernandez broke his leg. Or broke a bone. I believe it was his leg. Detroit, at home, won the rest. And won the division on the last day of the year. So Toronto looking for revenge. The Tigers, of course, pitch to Mosby. Is a pop-up right side. Knight dodges the drops to make the catch. 1 out for Mulliniks. Is looking for revenge against the Twins for what happened last year in the ALCS. Mulliniks at 282, 12 homers, and 60 RBI. And remember, NL West and AL East will get home field for the LCSs once we get there. Pitch to Mulliniks. Fly ball to right. Lemon running in by the bullpens. Does he get there? He does. Fernandez was so surprised that he didn't take off. So 2 out. Lemon dusts himself off. And so a 2 out. Now for George Bell, hitting 263, 14 homers, and 97 RBI. Bell, ground ball to Salazar, so the air is not going to hurt. Fernandez can get past second, and the Blue Jays will leave a runner on. After half an inning, no score. So Mike Flanagan, who has not pitched as well ERA-wise as he has in real life, making his 30th start of the season. 14-10, a 5.31 ERA. Flanagan, a longtime pitcher for the Orioles, 37 years old, fastball at 83, and a fly ball pitcher. Let's do this. This is his 3rd start against the Tigers. In his previous 2, 13 innings, 12 hits, 4 runs, all earned. He walked 8 and struck out 9. And it's a 1-1 record. He threw a 5-hit shutout against the Royals on August 14th. Last time out, the 31st, a 5-3 win over the Brew Crew. 6 2/3, 120 pitches. 6 hits, 3 runs, all earned. A walk and 4 strikeouts. In 189 2/3, Flanagan is hittable. He's allowed 204 hits. 118 runs, 112 earned. 28 homers, 83 walks, and 94 strikeouts. Pitch to contact for sure. Here is the Tiger lineup. Gary Pettis leads off in center. Luis Salazar at short will bat second. Fred Lynn over from the Orioles and left will go third. Chet Lemon in right will clean up. Ray Knight will play first and bat fifth. Larry Herndon, not Darrell Evans, is the DH. He'll go sixth. Mike Heath behind the plate will bat seventh. Tom Brookins at third goes eighth. And Jim Whalewander at second will bat ninth. Mike Flanagan, 115 pitches, 7-8, depending on how much contact he makes. Defensively for the Blue Jays, George Bell, a 4 and a 4 in left. Lloyd Mosby, a 4 and a 2 in center. Jesse Barfield, a 7 and a 9 in right. Kelly Gruber, an 8 at third. Tony Fernandez, a 10 at short. Manny Lee, a 7 at second. Fred McGriff, a 6 at first. Ernie Witt, a 5 and a 4 behind the plate. Flanagan is a 7 with a 1,000 fielding percentage. Gary Pettis says, my nose itches. Must be I'm going to kiss myself, because doesn't that mean if your nose itches, you kiss a fool? Pettis, a 230 average, hitting 3 homers and 31 RBI. Right field, Barfield, 1 out. For Luis Salazar, hitting 243, 4 triples, 3 homers, and 32 RBI. There's a ground ball to Gruber. Over to McGriff. 2 out. For Fred Lynn. Lynn off to a slow start. 1 for 16. Was a waiver deal in August. And so I believe. Yep. No. He came over September. Well, he's available September 1st. Would he not be eligible if they make the playoffs? The deal was, if you were on the roster on the last day of August, so the 31st, you were eligible for the playoffs. That's why the Mets called up Greg Jeffries, so they could use him in October. I don't know what the case is with Lynn. If the Tigers win the division, would he be eligible or not? Pitch to Lynn, fly ball, right field. Barfield by the Pens makes the catch, and that'll do it. No runs, no hits, no errors. After one here in Corktown, no score. So Witt, McGriff, and Barfield to face Morris. Ernie at 242, 15 homers, and 58 RBI. Morris deals, and Ernie draws the walk. Witt, not stealing. Fred McGriff at 281, 27 homers, and 79 RBI. Morris's pitch. That's up the middle, past Whalewander in there for a single. So Witt is going to run for third. Pettis is not blessed with a super arm. Speed was his game. Runners on the corners, nobody out for Jesse Barfield. Hitting 237, 15 homers, and 45 RBI. So Morris in a bit of a pickle here in the second. Popped up. Center field, that will be deep enough to score Witt. Gary Pettis has it. Witt tags. Pettis will uncork one to the plate. That's a good throw, but not in time. So Witt will score. McGriff to second, and the Jays are up 1-0. For Kelly Gruber, hitting .327, 15 homers, and 69 RBI. The Blue Jays are a year away from dominating the American League East. In fact, if they win this year, if you were to go through and do through 93, I wonder if they even get past the Red Sox in 90. It really was a dynasty up in Toronto. Pitch to Gruber. Popped up. Left side. Brookins dodges the drops. 2 out for Manny Lee, hitting .278, 2 homers, and 31 RBI. If you don't think that going from Exhibition Stadium to Skydome wasn't huge for this team, in the first 5 years Skydome was open, the Blue Jays went to 4 ALCSs and won 2 World Series. Pitch to Lee. Chopper to Whalewander, who can't make the play. That's his 6th error of the year at second. And so, again, we told you, no Trammell, no Whittaker, and Salazar and Whalewander have committed errors. So 2 out for Tony Fernandez, who is 0 for 1. Morris, in opening 9 of 36 pitches, inning in 2/3, a hit and a walk. Ground ball to third. Brookins across the way for the out. So the Tigers have committed 2 errors. The error did not cause the run to score. Blue Jays get on the board first. They have also had their first hit. After the inning and a half, 1-0 Toronto. So Lemon, Knight, and Herndon to face Flanagan here in the second. Chet at 252, 21 homers, and 79 RBI. Fly ball left field. Bell by the Pens, 1 out. For Ray Knight, hitting .233, a homer, and 27 RBI. Right field, Barfield, well struck, 2 out. Knight got all of that one, except for he just got under it a wee bit. And Barfield was able to track it down. 2 out for Herndon Larry at 210, 3 homers and 17 RBI. Up the middle, past Lee for a base hit. The cat is sleeping through this ball game. Here's Mike Heath. Mike at 269, 4 homers and 27 RBI. Ground ball to Fernandez. Tony has it, throws to McGriff, and Heath is out, and so are the Tigers. No runs, a hit. They leave on a runner, and after 2, 1-0 Toronto. So Lloyd Mosby, Rance Melnix, and George Bell to face Jack Morris here in the third. Lloyd is 0 for 1. And I kind of wonder. Toronto obviously is remembered because they became so good. But the Tigers, today all these teams would make the playoffs. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you kind of have to wonder. I mean, the 84 Tigers were sensational. But their later teams never got their due. Now, some of that was because Detroit, running into the buzzsaw, that was the Metrodome. But dollars to donuts, if the Tigers win the division, they got the pitching. They can win the whole thing. Pitch to Mosby. Got him. Morris, a 2-2 fastball, got him looking, 1 out. Here's Molnix. Rance is 0 for 1. Is there a team that you guys think, maybe not from this era, and of course Scotty's going to say a Dodger team, that did not get the due, or an era of a team that they did not get the due that they probably should have gotten? Pitch to Molnix. Fly ball, right center. Pettis going back, and that is gone. So Molnix puts one into right center. Pettis went to play it off the wall, but it ran out of real estate, and it's 2-0 Toronto on Molnix's 13th home run of the year. Kaboom. Gary thought he was going to play that off the wall. The rain, by the way, is stopped. In fact, he hit that into the wind at 7, blowing in from right center, and it just had enough to get out of here. So 1 out for George Bell, who is 0 for 1. Morris steals. In the left, Lynn makes the catch. 2 out for Ernie Witt. Ernie walked and scored in the second. Line drive, right field, a base hit. I would say these two teams playing today never got the credit. Maybe in Canada, Toronto did, because they won the 2 World Series in a row. McGriff singled his first time up. Paul Beeston, who was the GM of the Blue Jays, incredibly smart. Those teams that won the World Series were a good mix of vets and homegrown talent. Pitch to McGriff. Fly ball, shallow left center. In comes Pettis, rides to Schwinn, makes the catch, and slides on the turf to make his 43rd great play of the year. How about that? That would be, a web gem. After 2.5, the Jays get the run on the homer from Molnix. 2 hits, no errors. Jays 2, Tigers nothing. So Brookins, Whalewander, and Pettis to face Flanagan here in the third. Brookins at 259, 7 homers and 35 RBI. Fly ball, right center, Mosby, 1 out. For a Whalewander, Jim, no one's going to confuse him for being Lou Whitaker, but he should be hitting above Mario Mendoza. Overall, at 097 and 8 RBI. In real life, 211 to 6 RBI. Whalewander in the left field, and that's a hit. Bell will cut it off on the thick, wet grass out there. Whalewander's going to go for 2. Bill will throw to second, to throw to Lee, and Jim has his third double of the year. So the Tigers respond. It's their second hit of the ball game. And here's Gary Pettis. Gary's 0 for 1. The cat, by the way, is dreaming on my leg. She's sound asleep, but I can feel her legs moving. And that is not a very comfortable feeling because you don't know if the claws are going to be out, if she jumps up in a hurry or not. The legs are face down towards the feet. They're not up in any area that it would really, really hurt. Mike Flanagan, opening 9, 39 pitches, 2 1/3, 2 hits. Left field, Bell, reaching over by the pins, makes the catch. How about that? And Will Wander retreats. So 2 out for Salazar. Louis 0 for 1. There goes Will Wander. That's past Manny Lee into center field for a single. Will Wander has good speed. And Mosby has no arm. And the run will score without a throw. It's 2-1. So 2 out. The Tigers have cut the lead to 1. And here's Fred Lynn. Freddie is 0 for 1. The cat is running like crazy in her dreams. Lynn in the right field. Barfield turns and makes the catch. So the Tigers get a run on 2 hits. And after 3 here in Detroit, it's the Blue Jays 2, the Tigers 1. So Barfield, Gruber, and Lee to face Morris here in the 4th. Jesse, sac fly, his first time up. Fly ball, left field, Lynn. 1 out. Kelly Gruber's 0 for 1. Base hit left field. So Lynn will pick it up. Lynn should have made that play. Freddie, of course. No, Salazar should have made that play. Pardon me. Freddie, of course. All those years in the American League, Boston, California, and Baltimore. Plenty of experience of playing here at Tiger Stadium the 6 times a year. Now, overhang, I think, was more of a thing in right than it was left. Braves of the late 50s. Insert 50. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I went with 56. That the Dodgers aren't done and dusted. Don't get the recognition. You know what? Milwaukee, they were there for 13 seasons. They moved from Boston before the 53 season, or during 53 spring training. And even with the lame duck season in 65, when the court ordered them to play in Milwaukee, they never had a losing record. Lee is 0 for 1. There goes Gruber. The throw down to Salazar, and Kelly has his 22nd steal. So runner in scoring position, a 2-strike count, and 1 out to Manny Lee. Imagine that. They were there 13 years. They never had a losing record. There goes Gruber. The throw down to third. It's a strike him out. Did they throw out Gruber? No, he stole the base. So, wow, I've never seen that in this game. He went on an 0-2 count. The pitch was a called strike 3 to Manny Lee, and Gruber takes third. How about that? Gus asks, apologizes if this has been asked before, but do I ever do a... Yeah, they weren't here yesterday. Normally what we do is, this is my 6th replay. The channel just celebrated its 6th birthday. So replay number 7 will be 1956. And it will be, there's a wheelhouse that I have, 77 to 93. And so we've done, this will be the 3rd of the 7 that will be outside that wheelhouse. We did 49. The Yankees beat the Dodgers in 5, with Fred Sanford nearly taking a no-hitter into the 9th. of the clincher in Brooklyn. And last year we did 0-1. So this is the wheelhouse year. And then next year would be outside of that. And so we're doing 1956. So yes. So we kind of bounce back and forth, I think is the long answer. Tony Fernandez is 0 for 2. 18 batters for Morris. 69 pitches. 3 2/3. 4 hits. A home run allowed. That was to Mullenix. A walk and 2 strikeouts. A, I think it gets you out of doing the same thing over and over again. And B, it's a good learning experience. I enjoyed 49. And I actually enjoyed 0-1. Mariners fans would have enjoyed 0-1 an awful lot. In Game 6 of that ALCS against Oakland, Brett Boone walked off and forced a Game 7. And so the Mariners, that was the year they won, 112, 116, something like that. They beat the Astros in a very non-competitive World Series to get their crown. Gruber on third, pitch to Fernandez. Slow ground ball to Whale Wander over tonight, and that will take care of business. However, the Blue Jays get a hit and they leave a runner on. They've left on 5, and it's 2-1 Toronto. Gus has a 1913 replay league, and that's just a blast. It's somewhat like high school. Yeah, a lot of small ball. Defense can be sloppy. If you ever seen the pictures of the gloves that they use, you'll understand why. We already showed you the standings. So let's show you how this 3-team swizzle would work between the Tigers and the Red Sox. The Tigers and Red Sox are done. And if they end up tied, any one-game replay would be here in Detroit as they beat Boston 10-3. Boston has beaten Toronto 6 out of 7 times, and provided the Red Sox win one more, I believe most of so they have 6 more games, both in Boston and Toronto, then the Red Sox would host a one-game playoff against the Blue Jays. If these two teams end up tied, they have 6 games left, including this, and Detroit leads the series 4-3. So to recap, if there was a playoff between Detroit and Boston, it would be at Tiger Stadium. Detroit and Toronto are pretty much even, too early to tell, and if the Red Sox beat Toronto once more, they will host a playoff. Chet Lemon is 0 for 1. Hall of Fame has quite a few of bag gloves being a catcher. Oh, no, not for the weak of heart. First of all, you're wearing a iron cage around your face. With betting, Lemon lines it back to Flanagan for the out, 1 away. Ray Knight is 0 for 1. And you're talking in an era there where it was 1 uniform per year. So you're wearing betting as padding and on your face and wrought iron like a fence. Good luck catching in those double headers in July and August. Pitch tonight, Ray swings, ground ball to McGriff. He'll underhand it to Flanagan for the out. So Larry Herndon singled. He's 1 for 1. So ideally, to get back to, do I do any outside the 80s? Dave didn't want to do Burlington. We tried that conversation. And Burlington is really just kind of out of the way. Connecticut, for the population base, is better. Larry strikes out. So he got him a chase. So 1-2 curveball, and that'll take care of business. No runs, a hit. The Tigers are left on 2. And after 4, 2-1 Detroit. No, not for you. Not for me either. Lloyd Bosby's 0 for 2. He has struck out. Bosby, Mullenix, and Bell to face Morris here in the 5th. So ideally, by the time that I'm done doing season replays or annual replays on the channel, I'd like to have one from pretty much every decade. We've done the 40s. We've done the aughts. I know I want to do a 30s and a 60s at some point. And we'll take care of the 50s next year. Pitch to Mosby. Ground ball to Salazar over tonight for the out. So if you're wondering, that means that we'll be doing at least 4 or 5 more of these so I can get that all in there. Rance Mulliniks homered his last time up. He's 1 for 2. It was his 13th of the year, and he's driven in 61. Got him. 3 for Morris, so 1-2. Fastball in there at the knees, 2 out. For George Bell, who is 0 for 2. And Bell draws the 2-out walk. So a second walk for Morris. Here's Witt. Ernie has walked, scored, and singled. Not necessarily in that order. Struck him out. So halfway home here in game 2, I need a drink. It is a 68-degree, beautiful fall day here in Burlington, Vermont, this last Thursday of the month of August. Game 2 of our Labor Day doubleheader. Toronto 2, Detroit 1. Ed, do I get a Tim Fed? Lady. If you joined us late, the Cincinnati Reds took the opener of this Labor Day doubleheader over the Houston Astros. And in the second game, 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors for the Blue Jays, who trailed the Tigers by a game and a half. 1 run, 3 hits, and 2 errors for Detroit. In the second, Jesse Barfield a sac fly to make it 1-0. Barfield, okay, is playing with his grill, which we would now known as Jesse's Grill. Rance Mulliniks a solo homer in the third. His 13th to make it 2-0 Toronto, and Detroit have the lead in the bottom of the third, a Luis Salazar RBI single. Mike Flanagan and Jack Morris in a good pitcher's duel. Flanagan 3 hits through 4 and a run and a strikeout. Morris 5 innings, 4 hits, the 2 runs, the homer. He has walked 2 and struck out 4. So it'll be Heath, Brookins, and Whalewander here in the 5th. Mike is 0 for 1. 1960, how it ended. Carl says he feels like he needs a hard hat for 1930. He needs, in the first week. Oh, if you were to do 2000 and 1930 back-to-back, you'd think no one had ever pitched a ball in their lives. That's what made Pedro so amazing that year. 64 probably what I would do for a 60 season, because both seasons are incredible as far as, I mean, everyone talks about the Phillies pooping the bed in the last 10 days of the year, but the Orioles and the White Sox and Phil Linz in a harmonica chase the Yankees around through all of 64. Heath is 0 for 1. Mike, fly ball right field. Barfield coming in, makes the catch, 1 out. For Tom Brookins, who's 0 for 1. How you doing, John? Pitch to Brookins. Ball 4. 67, of course, being a Red Sox fan. But the caveat being, I mean, most of you probably have a season would say that it would have been a different result if so-and-so hadn't gotten hurt. I'm just not sure I could do an honest 67 replay knowing that Congligliaro wasn't there after the middle of August. And we've always done these as played. It just makes it easier. Jim Whalewander doubled and scored. He's 1 for 1. Ground ball to third. Gruber going to get 2. Manny Lee for 1. And Whalewander is going to reach as the throw is late. So 5-4, fielder's choice. 2 out for Gary Pettis, who's 0 for 2. Mike Flanagan, 81 pitches, 4 2/3, 3 hits, a walk, and a strikeout. The run is earned. A long holiday weekend Doing well myself, thank you. Any gaming plans for you, my friend? Throw to first and Whale Wander. Doesn't wander too far away. So they're going to send Whale Wander. Witts throw down to Lee, and that goes into center field. So Whale Wander steals second and goes to third as Witt threw it away. So Whale Wander gets his 7th steal of the year. And Gary Pettis now has a 1-strike count. Gary is 0 for 2. Tying run 90 feet away. Flanagan's pitch. Base hit right field. So Whale Wander will score, and this game is tied at 2. And Barfield bobbles it. That took a hop on the tall grass out there, and Pettis essentially steals second on the error by Jesse Barfield. A slower runner probably doesn't go. But Pettis is a good runner and a fast runner. And good meaning a smart runner. And so he forced the error on Barfield, who didn't make a lot. Barfield made 8, it says. Wow. So 2 out, the go-ahead run in scoring position here in the 5th for Luis Salazar, who was 1 for 2 with an RBI. That hit was a single. Ground ball to Lee. It's a hard grounder over to McGriff, and that'll take care of business. A run will score. The Blue Jays uncharacteristically commit 2 errors. And after 5, it's Toronto and Detroit tied at 2. Still in your 83 Braves replay. First place in late July. Skip Carey, Pete Van Weeren would be real thrilled about that. How you doing, the other John? Was Sterling there in 83? As Ernie Johnson Sr.'s partner? Fred McGriff is 1 for 2. He's got himself a single. Both teams have 2 runs, 4 hits, and 2 errors. Blue Jays have left on 6, the Tigers 3. Pitch to McGriff. Ground ball to Knight. Ray takes it to the bag, 1 out. So far, so good, John says. Jesse Barfield has an RBI. Sack fly and is 0 for 1. These 2 teams, noontime Labor Day, will meet up in the Wednesday game of this series. Base hit left field. Lynn will pick it up. So that's the 5th hit off of Morris, who's now over 100 pitches. Kelly Gruber 1 for 2. He has stolen 2 bases. He now has 23 on the replay. And a single. Struck him out. That's 5 for Morris. So 1-2 fastball looking. So 2 out for Lee. Manny is 0 for 2. He is struck out once. Yeah, Sterling was there in 85. Ernie was getting a little long in the tooth by then. And so they actually had a TV crew and a radio crew, and they switched every 4.5 innings. NL race in 64 should be real competitive. Only 5 games between 1st and 5th. Yeah. Yeah, and again, the American League race doesn't get a lot of the credit because of the Phillies. I would think, I've read that people who've done 64 have had a lot of success with the Reds and success with the Giants. Popped up Salazar. A rainmaker on this dark day in Detroit makes the catch, and that'll do it. 0 runs, a hit. The Blue Jays have left on 7, and after 5.5, it's 2-2. So here's Freddie Lynn. Freddie's 0 for 2. Freddie in the right. Barfield. Crowd likes it. So does Jesse. 1 out. For Lemon, who's 0 for 2. I looked at, for the 50s, I looked at 51. But you're rubber stamping the Yankees. I looked at 54 because Willie Mays. And the American League is good. That's the year, the only time in Casey Stengel's tenure where the Yankees won 100 games. and the Indians won that division easily. But it's just Cleveland and New York. 56, the National League is a tight race. And you can go 5 deep for teams that finished over 500 in the American League. It's not a rubber stamp deal for the Yankees. So also Mickey Mantle's Triple Crown year. Pitch to Lemon. Chet into center field. Mosby coming in. Makes the catch. 2 out for Ray Knight, who's 0 for 2. Yogi Berra also had a monster year in 56. Pitch to Knight. Ground ball through the middle, base hit. So Ray has himself a single. Both teams have 5 hits. Larry Herndon is one of them. He's 1 for 2. He is singled and struck out. Ground ball to third. Gruber over to McGriff. And that will retire the Tigers. They get a hit and they leave a runner on. We go to the 7th here in game 2. Jays and Tigers knotted at 2. Tony Fernandez is 0 for 3. Morris, 27 batters, 6 innings, 108 pitches, 5 hits, a home run. He walked 2 and struck out 5. 64 was the first season that Mr. Howard bought a Strat. Not a good Dodger season, though. Surrounded by the World Series in 63 and 65. It's amazing just how good those Dodger teams were. Pitch to Fernandez. Line drive to Waylander for the out. The Twins of that era kind of fit into good teams that don't get their due. Mosby 0 for 3 with the K. Of course, Koufax pitching Game 7 of the 65 series on 2 days rest is legendary, as it should be. But so did Jim Cott. And if the Twins had won that game, it would have been Cott that would have been remembered for doing that. Pitch to Mosby. It's ball 4. So Mosby draws the walk. 3rd walk for Morris. Jack running on fumes now. Here's Mullenix. Rance homered in the 2nd. Or the... Lance homered in the 3rd. It is 13th and is driven in 61 now. Mosby with 30 steals. Throw to first, and Lloyd is back. Now they'll pitch out. There goes Mosby. The throw down to Salazar, and Lloyd is in there. His 31st steal of the year. So the go-ahead runner in scoring position, 1 out top the 7th. The 1-0 to Mullenix. Popped up. Heath doffs the mask. Not a lot of room here at Tiger Stadium. Makes the catch, 2 out. So George Bell is 0 for 2 with a walk. John from Dallas is doing a franchise mode. No OTP. Started with the 78 Braves. Drafted Fernando Valenzuela, and he's an elite starter. Don't overthrow him. That would be the big key. Don't do what Tommy did. Pitch to Bell, who's 0 for 2. Laced into left field in front of Lynn. Mosby's going to score with ease. Bell is on with a single, and the Blue Jays lead at 3-2. So we'll give Morris Ernie Witt. Ernie 1 for 2. A single, a run scored, a walk, and a strikeout. And Heath reminds Morris that just get Ernie done so you can be done. In the right center field, back goes Lemon, and that will stay in the yard. Stretch time, 3-2 Jays. Dwayne Ward coming in to pitch for Toronto here in the bottom of the 7th. Dwayne is 24, 7-5, a 2.48 ERA, his 55th appearance on the year. Fastball at 95 and a ground ball. Plus pitcher. He last pitched on the 4th, so yesterday against the Rangers in a 5-4 win. Didn't get a decision. 1 in the 3rd innings, 22 pitches. Inning in the 3rd, Ron, is how you should say that. Oh, okay. A walk and a strikeout. 109 innings for Ward. 84 hits, 34 runs, 30 earned. He's given up 3 home runs. He has walked 43 and struck out 95. So the Blue Jays got a run on a hit. They've left on 8. Tigers didn't commit an error. And the Jays lead at 3-2. It'll be Heath, Brookins, and a Whale Wander to face Ward here in the 7th. Mike is 0 for 2. Scotty brings up Harmon Killebrew as a forgotten start from the 60s. Absolutely. A big hit, no-field guy. Twins also had Bobby Allison, Tony Oliva, Zolio Versailles. Earl Batty was a good hitting catcher. And eventually Rod Carew, who just became an American citizen at 78. Pitch to Heath. Popped up left side. Fernandez racing towards foul territory. 1 out. A good play, too. So Fernandez, who is stellar out there at short, says it was foul territory, but he made the catch just before he went over the line. Tom Brookins is 0 for 1 with a walk. Ward winds and deals. Struck him out. And 0-2 fastball got him swinging. Here's Whale Wander. What have we got on the bench? We got Trammell, who can hit a righty. We don't have, believe it or not, we don't have Lou Whitaker. Dwayne Murphy will pinch hit. Murph, as a pinch hitter, 667. That tells me he's 2 for 3 with an RBI. Overall, 313, a homer, 9 RBI. Nobody on, 2 out, bottom of the 7th. Murph strikes out. So that'll do it. No runs, no hits, and no errors. We go to the 8th, 3-2 to Toronto. Trammell can play second. So Salazar moves to second. Trammell will play short. And Morris's day is done. So lefty, righty, righty. Eric King comes in to pitch. No relation to Larry that we know of. 24 years old. Fastball at 91. Fly ball pitcher. He's got one more start on the year. He's 1-4 on the season with a 5.25 ERA, making his 15th appearance. His last appearance came on the 28th of August, a week ago, and an 8-4 win over the Brewers, as you hear the jet flying overhead here. 2/3 of an inning, 24 pitches, 3 hits, 3 runs, all earned, and he walked 2, didn't strike out anybody. 36 innings for Eric, 37 hits, 25 runs, 21 earned, a homer. He walked 18 and has struck out 19. And he has not faced the Jays in the replay. McGriff, Barfield, and Gruber to face him here in the 8th. So Trammell an 8 at short, Salazar a 3 at second, and King is a 7 on the mound. Fred McGriff is 1 for 3 with a single. Rips that one overnight. Down in the corner, he has 2 with these. He might get 3. Lemon has it. McGriff digging for third. Salazar throws to Brookins. Not in time, and the Crime Dog has his 3rd triple of the year. So the 7th hit for the Jays, and they immediately have a runner in scoring position. For Jesse Barfield, who has an RBI, a sac fly, that came in the 2nd. He's 1 for 2 with a single. Left field, Lynn will grab it. McGriff should tag. Lynn has a good arm to throw to the plate. Not in time. 4-2 Toronto. So Barfield with 2 sac flies in the ballgame. How dead ball is that? Brings up Kelly Gruber. Kelly 1 for 3. He has stolen 2 bases and struck out once. To Trammell. Over tonight for the out, 2 away. Manny Lee is 0 for 3. He has struck out once. Pitch from King. Popped up. Center field. Back goes Pettis. That's more than a pop-up. Gary's there, and that will retire the side. Blue Jays get a big insurance run on a hit, no errors. And after 7.5 here at Tiger Stadium, it's Toronto 4, Detroit 2. So top of the lineup for Detroit. Pettis, Salazar, and Lynn. Gary is 1 for 3. He is singled and driven in 1 of the 2 runs. Slow chopper over the mound. Fernandez on the grass. Throws to McGriff, 1 out. For Salazar, who is 1 for 3, Louis started the game at short, moved over to second. Has an RBI. Ground ball to McGriff, and Fred can't make a play. How about that? So Louis on with an error. That's Fred's 6th of the year at first. And the 3rd for the Jays. And so here's Fred Lynn. You're not going to pinch hit for him. He has tremendous power. He is 0 for 3. Let's see what Ward does with Salazar, who would be a dead lock sink to steal second. Ward goes to the plate, and they strike out Lynn. An 0-2 curve. And there's 2 out for Lemon, who is 0 for 3. There goes Salazar. Wits throw down to Lee, and he's in there with his 3rd stolen base. So Salazar in scoring position now for Lemon, and an 0-1 count. 73 degrees here in Detroit. Wind blowing in from right center at 7. It's an overcast day. And Toronto feeling pretty good right now. Pitch to Lemon. Walked him. For Ray Knight. And they'll pinch hit for Knight. Dave Bergman as a pinch hitter, 216 with 2 RBI. Overall, however, 321, 3 homers, and 36 RBI. Salazar on second. Lemon the tying run on first. And Bergman the go-ahead run at the plate. 2 out, bottom of the 8th, 4-2 Toronto. And Witt and Ward have a word. Dwayne from the Wine with 2 outs. Ground ball, base hit in the right field. Don't know why the crowd is booing. Here comes Salazar. He's going to challenge Barfield's arm. The tag, the slide, they got him! That was the boo. So the Tigers would have had the bases loaded. It was a good play. Salazar, the odds were with him. But Barfield threw him out. So the Tigers do not score. So we go to the 9th. Toronto 4, Detroit 2. Wow. So Darrell Evans is the better defensive first baseman. And so he will come in. He's a 4 there. Eric King gets another inning, although he gave up a run in the 8th. Fernandez, Mosby, and Mullenix here in the 9th. Tony is 0 for 4. That is line to center. Pettis, 1 out. So Herndon, maybe, Heath, and Brookins for the Tigers in the 9th. They'll lead 2. Mosby is 0 for 3. Lloyd is struck out, walked, stolen a base, and scored. Got him. 2-2 fastball, got him swinging. 2 out for Monix. Rance homered in the third. His 13th, he's driven in 61. All the rest of the baseball on Labor Day when we're done here, and we'll tell you what we're doing next week. Monix draws the walk. And Nelson Liriano is going to pinch run. Good choice for the Jays. 4 runs, 7 hits, 3 errors for Toronto. They have left on 8. As George Bell, 1 for 3 with an RBI and a walk. That 1 hit was a single. Tigers, 2 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors, and they've left on 6. Line drive to Trennell, who leaps to make a good play. And that'll do it. That'll do it. We go to the bottom of the 9th. The Jays cannot score. No runs, no hits. They leave on 9. See if that matters in a couple minutes. After 8.5, it's 4-2 Jays. So Herndon, well, they will pinch hit for. Remember, you don't pinch hit for the DH. So it's now Pat Sheridan hitting .257, 13 homers, and 55 RBI. Ward in for a 9-out save, apparently. Left center, Mosby. 1 out. Tigers 2 to tie, 3 to win. Heath is 0 for 3. Got him. So an 0-2 fastball at 92, and last chance saloon for the Tigers here. Tom Brookins is 0 for 2. He is walked and struck out. And Dwayne Ward is 1 batter away from a 9-out save. To Fernandez, who makes a great stop over to McGriff, and the Blue Jays win it by the score of 4-2. So 3 hours and 24 minutes. The Jays have made the Tigers' life much more, and the Red Sox life much more interesting. They are 79 and 59. 4 runs, 7 hits, 3 errors. They leave on 9. Detroit, 2 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors. They fall to 79 and 58. And I'll agree with the computer. Dwayne Ward picks up the 3-inning save, allowing a hit and a walk and striking out 4. Flanagan goes to 15 and 10. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, both earned, a walk and a strikeout. Jack Morris, 7 innings. He falls to 13 and 14. 6 hits, 3 runs, all earned, a homer, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. King, 2 innings, a run, it was earned, a walk, and a strikeout. So at the moment, the Jays are within a half a game, or a game of Boston. The rest of this September 5th, 1988 for you. We'll get to the doubleheader at Wrigley in a minute. The Pirates beat the Mets 4-3 in 12. Medvin 4-0. Terry Leach falls to 6-4. Mookie Wilson goes to 3-5. He tripled, doubled, and stole a base. The doubleheader at Wrigley, the Cubs sweep. How about that? 8-4 in the first. Rick Sutcliffe goes to 12-13. Bob Sebero 0-1. Ricky Jordan 3-5 with a double. In the nightcap, Mike Harkey beats the Phillies 12-6. His first win of the year. Shane Raleigh falls to 6-11. Jones 2-4, hits a second. Yankees beat the Indians 8-4. Shields 2-4. Tom Candiotti falls to 10-12. Ricky Henderson 3-5 and 3 steals. The Mariners go into Minnesota and beat them 7-5. Eric Hansen gets his first win of the year. Frank Viola falls to 17-8. I'm looking. Margins do not change. Kirby Puckett hits his 23rd, 2 for 4 with 3 RBI. Chicago beats Milwaukee 3-2. Don Paul 1-2. If it's not Mrs. Paul, throw it back. Dawn August 4-11. In the loss, Darryl Boston 4 for 4. 16th drives in 2. Dodgers beat the Braves 3-1. They do not gain any ground. Oral Hershiser goes to 15-8. Rick Miller falls to 8-16. Oral Hershiser 1 for 4 with a triple. How about that? The Red Sox beat the Orioles 5-2. Mike Smithson goes to 9-5. Schmidt 5-6. Lee Smith is 28th save. So the Red Sox lead is now 1 over the Tigers. Oakland gains no ground. Texas beats them 5-2. Paul Kilgus 8-12. Storm Davis 14-10. Mark McGuire hits his 31st, goes 2 for 3 with a double. Let's see. St. Louis beats Montreal 8-7 and 10. Worrell goes to 5-8. Tim Burke falls to 4-7. Hubie Brooks 2 for 5 is 17th and drives in 4. Kansas City beats California. The Angels make 4 errors. 9-6 the final there. Lee Brandt 12-11. Freezer 9-11. Bob Boone 2 for 3 hits his 3rd and drives in 2. 17 hits for the Padres. They beat the Giants 4-3 in 15 innings. Mark Grant, poor Don Orsillo has to hear all about this again, 4-6. Sorensen 1-1. Will Clark hits his 25th. He goes 2 for 3. And that'll do it. Monday, it'll be Dave, Steve, and Frank Tanana. Wednesday will be Danny Jackson and Ramon Martinez as the Reds and the Dodgers face off. Then the third game of the week will be a wild card game. It could be one of these, could be the secret square. Which one is it? Could it be the Tigers and the Yankees? Could it be the A's and the Royals? Or the Reds and the Dodgers? One of those is sitting in the secret square. All that next week on Retro Sports Network. Gardner, nightcap? Yes, you do. I've seen you with your stocking cap and your candle in your hand, wishing everyone Merry Christmas to all, and to all of you a good night. So long, everybody.